Chances are, if you're into crypto, you've got one of their apps on your phone right now. They're sleek, they're fast, and honestly, they look just like any other modern finance app. But have you ever stopped to wonder how these massive crypto exchanges really make their billions behind that user-friendly interface? Well, let's find out. So in this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers on the world's biggest crypto exchanges. We're going to look at the business models they want you to see, and then we're going to look at the ones they would much rather keep hidden in the shadows. All right, so first up, let's talk about the legitimate side of the business. This is the massive, legal profit machine that powers these crypto giants. And you might be surprised to learn it pretty much all boils down to one primary source of income. Yeah, it's actually kind of simple. Over 90%, you heard that right, 90% of an exchange's legal revenue comes from just one thing: trading fees. Every single time you buy, sell, or trade, boom, they take a tiny little slice. And look, when I say tiny, I really mean it. We're talking about fractions of a percent. For a standard spot trade, it might be as low as 0.1%. Seems like nothing, right? But apply that 0.1% fee to Binance's $15 billion in trading volume in a single day, and suddenly, wow, those tiny slices add up to an absolute fortune.
And yeah, of course, that's not the only way they make money. They've got a whole menu of fees. They charge you to move your money in and out. They charge new crypto projects millions just to get a token listed. They earn interest when you use leverage, and they take a cut of staking rewards. It all adds to the pile.
And what a pile it is. Just think about this number. In 2022 alone, Binance reportedly pulled in over $12 billion in revenue. And most of that came from those tiny trading fees. It's a massive, perfectly legal, and incredibly profitable business. But, and this is a huge but, that is not the whole story. Not even close. Okay, so this is where we pull back the curtain. And what's behind it? Well, this is where things take a very sharp turn. Because behind that shiny facade of legitimate profit, there's a much darker reality. A hidden business model that thrives on stuff that is just flat out illegal. Look, let's not beat around the bush here, because the source material sure doesn't. A significant chunk of the money that flows through these exchanges is directly tied to criminal activity. And the evidence? Well, it's pretty damning. Let's just start with this number, $4.3 billion. That's not revenue, that's the fine that Binance and its CEO had to pay in 2023 for blowing off U.S. anti-money laundering and sanctions laws. And the key thing to understand here is this wasn't some mistake, some oversight. The investigation found they deliberately failed to report over 100,000 suspicious transactions. We're talking about money connected to terrorist groups, darknet drug markets, and even sites trafficking child sexual abuse materials. They didn't just miss it, they chose to look the other way. But it's not just about, looking the other way when criminals come knocking. Sometimes their own house isn't in order, which brings us to this number. $1.5 billion. That's how much was stolen from the exchange ByBit in the largest crypto hack in history. And this is where you see the real-world scary consequences. The FBI literally traced these stolen funds directly to North Korea's nuclear program. I mean, think about that. Investigators found that ByBit's security was weak, and when they were asked to freeze the suspicious funds, they didn't. The criminals were just allowed to cash out. So you might be thinking, these are just some huge abstract numbers. What does this have to do with me? Well, these practices have a direct impact on regular users, on you. So let's break down exactly what the specific risks are on each of these major platforms. So for Binance, the world's biggest exchange, the problem was a corporate culture that just played fast and loose with the law for years. Their whole empire was partly built on servicing sanctioned countries and enabling money laundering, all while selling tokens that regulators now say were totally illegal securities. OKX presents a different kind of risk. Officially, they blocked U.S. users. But behind the scenes, their own employees were caught red-handed, basically teaching customers how to lie and fake their nationality just to get around the rules. And this created a secret backdoor for over $5 billion in shady and criminal money to pour through their platform completely unchecked. And then there's MEXC. Man, this place is just the Wild West of crypto. Its whole business model of listing any and every new meme coin makes it an absolute paradise for scammers. It is filled with thousands of fraud groups running pump and dump schemes, where they rocket a coin's price up before crashing it, leaving everyday investors like you holding worthless bags. And finally, we're back to ByBit. As the king of high-leverage trading, their entire brand is built on risk. But it seems that risk-first attitude applied to their security too. That catastrophic $1.5 billion hack, it shows a clear pattern of putting profits way ahead of protecting user funds, all while they were operating without the right licenses in a bunch of countries. So after hearing all that, the big question is, what can you actually do about it? Well, the source material is really clear. You have to protect yourself. Rule number 1, and this is the big one, use your own personal, non-custodial wallet. This puts you in control of your crypto, not the exchange. And beyond that, do your own research and just accept the harsh truth that none of these platforms are saints. Your money is always at risk of getting tangled up in their legal mess or just disappearing in the next big hack. So it really leaves you with one stark question. In the world of crypto, these exchanges are the casino. They are the house. But if the house itself is built on a foundation of dirty money and criminal activity, can a regular player ever really win?